Hi, hope you're doing well wherever you are. Today I shall be reviewing this new entry from HP. This is the HP PROBOOK 450G9. As usual, let's just do the single-handed lifting of the lid. We see if it qualifies for that. No comments. No comments, that's a very good sign. So today I want to make this video the shortest and the most fulfilling review that you'll ever find for HP PROBOOK 450G9. So stick around. And as usual, make sure you leave a like on this video and don't forget to subscribe towards the end of this video. That is if you enjoy the reviews on this account. So here we have with us the HP PROBOOK 450G9. This is how it actually looks like. And remember, as usual, 450, the 4 and 5, it means 5 means it's a 15.6 inch machine. We have its younger brother, that is the 440, that is 14 inch, but this is 15 inch 450 G9. And I'll describe what the G9 means and the rest, but you can see over here it's an i7. I'll tell you the generation later. That is how the top part, the keyboard side, looks like. This is how the frame is. We have a silver chassis over there. The material is aluminium. It's a very lightweight machine despite it being big. It weighs only around 1.74 kilograms. So it's very light, not so heavy. This is how the top part looks like. The only disadvantage with the PROBOOKs is HP decided to maintain the old logo on PROBOOKs. So you have to bear with the machine having the old logo on it. But otherwise, all the other external features, it's very premium, very compact. And I think I really love the body design. Have a look at where we have the ventilations right here at the bottom. This is for inflow of air, and then we have another ventilation right over here. I'll show you for outflow of air. We have these important rubbers at the bottom just to improve the grip of this particular machine when it's on the table, assuming you're working with it on a table like this. So those two rubbers really helps the machine, because sliding it off or even from the sides, it's difficult because you have those rubbers. And then you can see the elongation on the rubbers. This helps to have proper airflow underneath the machine. That's why we have those rubbers there. You can see we have a few screws at the bottom. This is around 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means upgrading or doing some cleaning, or if you want to access the internals of this machine, it will be quite easy due to the minimal screws we have on it. Now, I must admit that in terms of port, this machine is really top-notch, because you have all the ports you would want to have in a modern day laptop. Have a look at the right hand side. You have the first two ports right over here. This is the power port, and then you have Type-C port. One interesting thing is that you can charge this machine through these two ports. You can use this Type-C port over here, or the normal HP blue pin to charge the laptop. If you're a person maybe who doesn't like carrying so many chargers and the rest, I'll prefer you carry Type-C, because with the Type-C charger, that is the one that has 19 volts, you can be able to charge your laptop, you can be able to charge your mobile phone and any other device that you have that uses Type-C. Talking of the HP blue pin charger and the HP Type-C charger, I have the two chargers right over here, and you can see they're of 65 watts, both of them 65 watts. So this particular HP PROBOOK 450G9 uses a 65 watts charger, and in case you misplace your charger, this is where you normally have your power ratings of your charger. So you see here it's written input 19.5 volts, 3.3 amperes. Means this particular machine uses 65 watts adapter. If you have these two chargers, either of them, you can be able to charge this particular laptop through these ports we have right over here. Let me just plug them in. You see, this is for Type-C, and this is where the blue pin goes in through, right over here. Yeah, you can see. So that is how they go in, but you can't use both of them at the same time. You have to use only one of them, and when one of them is plugged in, this machine supports rapid charging. That means you can be able to from 0 to 50% in just 30 minutes. And remember, it's a very power efficient machine. That means with that 50% charge, it can still take you up to 6 hours if you're not doing so demanding task. If you're not operating under high brightness levels, if the backlights are not on, then it will last you longer, to close to 6 hours. It means you have advantage of minimal charging time and high or longer lasting battery on this particular HP ProBook 450G9. And then over here you have two USB 3.2 ports. You can be able to transfer data at very high speed. Then you have HDMI 2.1 port over here that supports 4K. You have audio jack port, and then you have an optional SIM card tray right over here. Something I was forgetting is with this Type-C port we have over here, you can also use this port to transfer video. It can be used as a video display port. It can still be used as a data transfer port, high speed. Now this is extremely higher because it's Thunderbolt 4, extremely higher than these USB 3.8 ports that we have over here. So if you want very fast high data transfers, then definitely this is for you. Then on the left hand side again we have this, the Kingston lock. We have Ethernet port, RJ45 port, very important. If you want to access high internet speeds, then Ethernet port is usually the best. Then you have another USB 3.2 type A port right over there. There's usually this line that you normally see on most machines. This is not decoration. Underneath this machine, this is like the antenna that supports Wi-Fi signals and Bluetooth signals for this particular machine. So that is just something engineered underneath behind the screen. We can't be able to show that on this review. On the back here you can see we have the ProBook logo right over there. On the keyboard side, very interesting. Have a look at the keyboard. Have a look at the trackpad. The keyboard, it's quite big. We have a 15.6 inch keyboard here. I know most of us maybe at this point of age maybe prefer having 14 inch laptops, but if you have a 15.6 inch laptop like this, it means you have a very big keyboard. The spacing is quite good. You have numerical keys right over here, so it means if you are very proficient in data entry, then definitely 15.6 inch laptop is good for you due to the positioning of the numerical keys over here. The machine is very good for people who do data entry. If you are into economics, yeah, then it will easily suit you. Again, if you're into gaming, you can still modify the keys you have over here on these ones. I think the spacing is quite good. Gamers only will understand here. Have a look at here on the keyboard. We have backlight key, so it means you can be able to use this machine in a dark room environment. Let me just turn off the light to see how the keyboard is. So you can see how good the keys are, and even the lighting, the light distribution on the keys is quite even. It's not just backlight, because some of these machines they have backlights, but when you turn off the lights, the backlighting is not that good, and you can reduce the backlight level just by pressing on the backlight key here, you see, to your correct lighting that you want. So you can, that is the lowest and then highest, yeah. So you only have around 2 levels. Other than that, there's a change in the position of the power button. For traditional laptops, you used to have power button towards the edge of the keyboard or outside the keyboard section, right somewhere here, but here they decided to advance it and make the power button just closer to the right hand side of the machine. These advantages, but here disadvantages, because if your keyboard happens to get short-circuited and now the keyboard is not working, you'll be having issues with powering on your machine. It won't be able to turn on because definitely the power button will have been affected, as opposed to the traditional machines where we used to have power buttons externally at their own position. So it meant even if your keyboard was not working, you could still be able to power on the machine and use external keyboards or even wireless keyboards. Otherwise, the travel distance for the keys is quite okay. You can feel there's no clicks as the ones in Lenovo, but the distance is quite still fine. And even if you hardly press on the keyboard area, it doesn't sink. We have a glass trackpad here. Something I normally love about HP Lightbooks and the ProBooks is this glass trackpad. This surface, you can use this machine for like even 10 years and the surface will remain just the way it is, because it's glass and it doesn't show any signs of wearing out even after longer usage. Now, this trackpad supports multi-gesture functions. You can be able to scroll through the screen instead of having to scroll through the side scroller on your laptop. You just use your 2 fingers to scroll. If assuming you're browsing on something, it will just be easier for you to scroll, see what's happening just by the use of 2 fingers. Yeah. Again, if you want to magnify something on the screen, you just use your 2 fingers and then you just magnify. So it's quite easier. again, this trackpad, it's not only support much gestures, but it has anti-thumb resistance. So that means if you accidentally press your thumb here on the trackpad, it won't be able to show any response on the screen. Have a look. So the palm, it has palm rejection, sorry. This is the palm, not thumb. So if you put your palm there, it doesn't respond anything. There's nothing else happening on the display. So we have a very advanced trackpad right over there. The clickings, we only have lower clickings right over here. It doesn't click on top. You just have to precisely click at the lower part. On here we have speakers. We'll do sound test at how good the sound of the firing of the speakers is. But definitely from here you see we have upward firing speed. Now before we get to our sound test, this particular HP PROBOOK 450G9 comes equipped with HP audio control software that helps control your audio levels and audio listening experience according to your preference. If you open the application, this is what you get first. You have output control, you have input control. Right over here you have audio conference tools, which is so critical if you're planning to use the laptop in a conference room or for your meetings. Then you have microphone noise cancellation that includes AI for the internal mic. You have speaker noise reductions for the speaker, so it can control how loud the speakers are, how loud you want them to be, which is quite advantageous. And even you can see here microphone mode, you have conference mode and personal mode. So for conference mode, you can see here we have 3 individuals, but at personal mode, it sets the microphone to just you, particularly you. That's why the microphones are now directed towards a single individual. But if you set them to conference mode, it means the microphone have been set to receive audio from both directions. Here we have audio playback tools, change sound modes from auto. You have music mode, you have movie mode, music mode. You have a 10-band equalizer right over here so as to fine-tune the speakers. Then here you have sound calibration, so you can still be able to calibrate the sound that you want to get from this particular HP PROBOOK 450, which is a really nice thing. Now let's test the speakers. Maximum volume, you see how good they are. So I normally love using these ultra review best test. It might not be the best, but at least will do some justice. So let me start it over, and then I'll put it at maximum volume right over here. Maximum volume too. You've heard how the speakers are. They are not the best in terms of loudness. I don't think it was quite loud as expected, despite the machine being big. They really need to improve on the speakers. I'll give the speakers a rating of 6 out of 10, so they're not that quite good. Maybe you have to tweak some settings right over here and there, but I feel this is a letdown compared to some other big laptops in terms of size that I've seen, how good the speakers are. Yes, we have good tools here, but the sound quality coming from the speakers is not that up to my expectations. Right here we have the HP PROBOOK logo, and then here we have fingerprint scanner. Very important for quick logging. Instead of using password, just use, you can put your finger to scan. In most of the scenarios, this fingerprint scanner, sometimes it doesn't work. So for you to determine if yours is working, I normally advise you just come press on Windows X, then come to where we have the device manager right over there, device manager. Then at the device manager we have biometrics. Come here, check the biometrics, the one that we have. Now here you see we have ELAN WBF fingerprint sensor, so it means the fingerprint sensor is working. Some other machines you might have this position here, but the fingerprint sensor is not installed on the machine because maybe probably it's a refurbished machine, so it's not there at all. And right on top here we don't have a face scanner. That is optional. Some of these machines, they normally come with a face scanner, but you can see here we have the camera. On top of the camera we have camera physical shutter, so it means you don't have to stick sellotape here to cover the camera for privacy shutter, which is usually very important. Just have to slide it like that. Then you can see we have 2 holes here. These are for microphones, so it means the receptions, we expect to have very good reception microphone for these. I'll do a webcam test. You see how good the camera is and how good the microphones are. This is where the microphones are normally are on these machines. Yes, so this is the microphone and camera test for this particular HP ProBook 450G9, and you can see how it is. The background is not quite sharp, and even the video is not that quite sharp, but I think there's no lag in video, so it will just do its function quite okay, though it's not the best. I don't know how good the sound reception is, but I expect the microphone to be good so that you don't shout towards the microphones while having conference call or even Skype meetings and the rest. Let me know what you think about this particular camera and microphone reception of this particular HP ProBook 450 G9. That is the distance, and this is me closer to the microphone. That is how the bezel looks like. It's very slim. We have very thin bezels, and I think I really loved how the bezels are, because this is a very big machine in terms of screen size, 15.6, and yet at least the bezels are so thin, so it means they have maximized that screen that we have over there. The screen we have with us on this particular model is a 15.6 inch Full HD IPS panel. Some other panels have lower resolution like 1366, but here if you come to display, you can see here we have 1920 by 1080, so it's a Full HD panel. It means the resolution is quite good. It might not be the best because the color accuracy here, the sRGB ratio is around 58%. That is not quite good. If you're planning to use this machine maybe to do things like photo editing, it might be a bit disappointing because the color concentration of the contrast you get from the screen is not that the best. And even the brightness levels, we have low brightness levels for around 250 nits, which is not that so good. Now let me just adjust the brightness. You see, at maximum, that is 100 brightness, and then that is the lowest. So you can see the difference is not that big. That means for 250 nits you can still be able to use this machine in an outdoor environment, but it won't be that suitable where there is so much sunlight, because you won't be able to see what's on the screen. The viewing angle is quite okay because it's an IPS panel. You can view it from the sides, you see, so there's no distortion on what's on the screen. There are no reflection. It's an anti-reflection. Right here we have light on top here. It's not the best anti-reflection capability, but at least it's trying. So much has been said about this machine. Let me just get you to its best or its juicy part. That is where we have the internal specs of this particular ProBook 450G9. Remember, I have i7 version, we have i5 version of it, and i7 version. Now for this i7 version, for us to see all the full specs, it's easy. Just come Control Shift Escape and then Task Manager. Once the Task Manager opens, remember we're running Windows 11 right over here. So once the Task Manager opens, come here to where we have Performance tab. Under Performance tab, you have everything: CPU, memory, and disk. And as you can see, 450G9, so we have a 12th gen CPU, i7 1255U, and right over here you can see the base speed is 1.7 gigahertz. I know you might be looking at this and saying, this is way so low, this base speed is quite low, but this is not usually the selling point of this particular machine, because this is just the base speed. And remember, at base speed, especially with these latest generation laptops, having a lower base speed means the machine draws low power. At this particular scenario, because we're doing review, there's nothing much we're doing with the machine, so the power draw is quite low. Actually, it's drawing around 15 watts, which is quite low. But now on heavy demanding task, at its best level or at its highest performance level, this particular speed will turbo up to around 4.7 gigahertz, and the machine will be drawing around 55 watts. So you can imagine the difference. That means if you're using this machine on just office task, business task, not some demanding task, then it means the battery efficiency, the battery lasts you quite longer, and even up to a full day, because you're not doing that heavy task, and the efficiency of the processor is quite high. Other than that, have a look here. We have 10 cores and 12 logical processor, 12 threads. Now here we have 10 cores. Remember, this is a 12th gen machine. It comes with an Alder Lake processor that has hybrid cores. That means out of these 10 cores, we have 2 cores that are for performance. Those ones are cores that are normally called upon when the laptop is doing heavy demanding tasks like 3D simulation, you're doing video editing, or you're doing things like rendering. Then definitely you'll have to call upon those 2 performance processors. Then we have other 8 efficiency cores, 2 performance cores and then 8 efficiency cores. Now for the 8 efficiency cores, those are the cores we normally use now for the background task. If you're doing just light duty tasks like writing a report, data analysis, those tasks that are not so demanding, then at that particular point you'll be using the efficiency cores. The machine won't be using so much power, it won't be drawing so much power from the battery, and it will last you longer. And remember that process is automatic. There's no switching of these cores. That is an automatic process. As for memory, right over here, because you're not going to have access to the motherboard of this particular machine, you can see right over here the form factor is sodium, and then slots used is 2 out of 2. So it means on this particular machine we have 2 RAM slots that supports DDR4 and DDR5 RAM, and the RAMs that you have here have a speed of 3200 mega transfers per second. So they are RAMs of extremely high speeds. And the advantage of this machine is right here we have 2 RAM slots. You can be able to remove the RAMs that we have over there, because total RAM we have is currently 16. You can remove the 2 RAMs. That means you have 2 8GB RAMs. Remove them, and then you replace them with 16 or 32 GB of RAM to a maximum of 64 GB. So it supports up to a maximum of 64 GB. And now the configuration of this RAM really matters. If you place only one RAM, then it will affect the GPU we have over here, because this machine comes with an integrated graphic card of Intel Iris. So if you place one RAM at only one slot, then you won't be able to access the Intel Iris graphics. So it's normally advisable, if you decide to use 16 GB of RAM, then put 8 on each slot so that you have the balance for you to activate the Intel Iris graphics. And this particular machine also comes with the optional dedicated graphic card. The one that we have here does not have dedicated graphic card. We only have integrated GPU, the Intel Iris, which is quite powerful too. Intel Iris, and the amount of shared GPU here, the amount of VRAM right over here, you can see it's 8 GB. It increases with the amount of RAM. So if I add another RAM to make it 32, then it will definitely have around 16 GB of shared GPU, which is not as powerful as dedicated GPU. So if you're in the market for such a particular or such a laptop, then if you're planning to use the laptop on maybe higher demanding tasks like video rendering and even gaming, then definitely look for the one that has a dedicated graphic card that is from NVIDIA. That is normally MX 570 from NVIDIA. But if that's not your kind of thing, then definitely Intel Iris, the one with a dedicated graphic card like this, will still be good, because with this particular machine you can still be able to do gaming on this machine. Not high-end gaming, but at least basic gaming. You can still be able to run properly. High-end coding, rendering will still be quite fine on this particular machine, because remember, you have higher number of cores, and with the higher number of cores it means multitasking is easier and efficient and faster. Apart from that, there are things that are not visible right over here because some drivers are not updated, but it also comes with Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 6. For Wi-Fi 6, it means you can be able to access high internet speeds through your laptop without connecting the Ethernet cable right over here, because you have the latest Wi-Fi adapter. So if you're using Wi-Fi in your house that has internet speeds of up to, let's say, 300 megabits per second, then you can still be able to access that full internet speed on your machine, because you have the advanced Wi-Fi card on this particular machine. And that is the same for Bluetooth connectivity. Now, having said that, remember this is a business machine, and what supports that business aspect of it. For business professionals, you normally deal with serious data, and therefore data breach and data protection is very, very important. This particular machine comes pre-installed with what you call HP Wolf security. And if I turn it off, let me just turn it off. Have a look here, we have HP Wolf security. So this is a form of antivirus that it comes pre-installed on this particular HP machine. And that means there's no need for you to install another antivirus on this particular machine, because Healthy World Security is one of the best antivirus that we have on the market so far as per 2025. And this is a form of encryption whereby we have both hardware and software endpoint encryption on this particular machine. And that means even if you're handling office tasks and other sensitive data, and maybe there's a virus that is accessing your machine, it will be able to clear that virus without you even knowing, just from the background. And even with you restarting the laptop, it will be able to do away with the virus just by the restart of your machine. And every fresh reboots cleans up any form of virus or malware infection from the BIOS and even from the Windows itself. So it's a very, very important and a very critical software that business professionals really need. That is the end of our review, guys. If you feel there's anything else I've left, you've seen how fast the booting speed is, let me know in the comment section. And yes, I was forgetting to show you something here on the performance tab. This is the disk here. I skipped this part. Have a look at what we have here. So it comes pre-installed with a Lex SSD that is of 1 TB. That is optional. You can get one with 512, you can get one with 256. It all depends on what you're planning to do with the laptop. So if you're planning to handle so much data, then definitely you need a bigger storage. But if you're somebody that uses the laptop mostly online, then you won't need that much kind of storage. As for me, this is what I have with me today. Very big storage. I think most of you will love to have something like that. Maximum RAM, maximum storage, maximum CPU, maximum performance. Nobody wants to have a laptop that is not performing. As we come to the end of this review, have a look at the tilting angle of the screen. We can tilt this bezel or the screen part up to 180 degrees, and I normally love this tilting angle because it makes the laptop hinges very secure. In case of maybe you're using the machine at this particular angle and somebody happens to knock or topple the screen, then definitely it goes to its favorite or maximum angle, and you won't damage the hinges. The hinges won't get damaged. That's why it's very rare to come across such a machine with a damaged hinge. But if the tilting angle would have been around obtuse at that particular angle, then you can imagine what will happen if you're holding this part and then somebody topples up this. It means the laptop will break apart right at the center. I think there is a plus for it. So guys, we've come to the end of this particular review. And as usual, just do me a single favor. Don't forget to subscribe to this particular account if you love the content that you're getting from this account, that is. And don't forget to leave a like. See you next time. Let me know in the comment section what you think about HP ProBook for 50G9. I've not mentioned the price because the price varies from where you are. But what I know is a very budget-friendly machine. It's not that expensive, but it's good for your daily day-to-day task. And I think it's something that you should give a chance if you are given the opportunity. See you next time on another review. Stay tuned. Don't forget to stay safe.